Good morning everyone. This video is for the students of class 7th subject English. This is our revision video in which we shall revise three topics. First, lesson 4, the ashes that made trees bloom. Second, poem 4, that is Chivi. And third, that is lesson number 7, verbs from our PC Rent's grammar book. So first of all, let us start with our lesson number 4, that is the ashes that made trees bloom from our honeycomb book. So first of all, have a look on introduction of the chapter. Basically, the lesson is an adapted version of a Japanese story. It depicts that the bond between humans and animals can't be broken even after death. However, there are few people whose selfish interests blot their relationship. Okay, so this chapter talks about the relationship shared by humans and animals. It tells us about those people also who intentionally try to destroy these kinds of relationship. The old man and his dog shared the warmth, integrity means honesty, association of lifetime rather beyond life. The spirit of the dog gave solace, solace means comfort, and support to his loving and caring master. The king rewarded the old gentleman with laurels means praises and presents. So basically, the old man and his dog shared a bond of honesty and love. After the death, the spirit of the dog gave comfort and he supported his caring master. And at last, the master was rewarded by the daimyo or the king only because of the spirit of the dog. Now, let's start with a summary of the chapter. In the 19th century in Japan, there lived an old couple. They had a pet dog. They loved it as if it were their baby. It was provided with a cushion and was fed lovingly by the couple. So we read that there was a couple who had a pet dog and they loved him as if it was their own baby. The old man was a rice farmer and was followed by his pet to the fields. Old man's kindness could be observed as he offered food to birds as well. One day, the dog has taken the man to a spot and began scratching the earth there. So, the old man was a rice farmer by profession and he was always followed by his pet dog to the fields. And they both were kind. The man digs the earth and found a pile of gold. They became rich and bought a piece of land. They gave a feast to their friends, feast means party, to their friends, and did charity to their poor friends. They cajoled their dog in a thankful manner. So, basically, when the dog took the old man to the spot and he started scratching, the man also dug the earth and he found a pile of gold. Suddenly, they became rich and they were so happy. In contrast to the benevolent couple, kind couple, there lived an insensitive couple. They tried to dissuade the dog by offerings and other dainties means tasty food, but failed to succeed in their motive. They used force to take the dog to a place where they could find some place to dig gold. The dog befooled them and began scratching at a place where a dead kitten was buried. So, till now we were reading about a kind old couple who lived with their dog. In contrast to that kind old couple, in their neighborhood there lived a wicked couple. who listened about the story of the dog and how he found a pile of gold for the old man, they also tried to persuade him to force the dog to take them also to such a place where they could find gold. But the dog befooled them and he began scratching at a place where a dead kitten was buried. Angrily, the old man killed the dog, and his wife nearly chopped off his head with a sharp hoe. Then they buried his carcass, means dead body, into the soil and made a heap of earth over it. Now, when the dog took them to a place where the dead kitten was buried, they became angry and they killed the dog. The old people regretted the severance with the dog and mourned its death. He set up bamboo tubes to demarcate its grave and laid a cup of water and food as they used to do to feed it. Now, on listening about the death of the dog, the old couple, who were very kind, they were very sad. One day, when the old man was sleeping, the spirit of the dog appeared in his dreams and asked him to cut the pure tree near his grave. It wanted him to make a mortar for his rice pastry and a mill for bean sauce. The old man followed the wish of the dog. When New Year's time was around, he decided to make rice pastry. When the rice was boiled and it was poured into the mortar, the old man lifted the hammer to pound or to break into the dough. Now, what happened? One day the old man was sleeping, and the spirit of the dog came in his dream, and he asked him to cut the tree near his grave and make a mortar from it. To his surprise, it changed into a heap of gold coins. The same thing happened with the old woman. When she poured beans to the hand mill, gold started dripping like rain. Now again the dog helped the kind couple by coming in his dream and asking them to cut the tree from the grave and make a mortar and a hand mill. The jealous neighbors were watching everything, so they came to borrow the mortar and the magic mill. But the pastry turned out to be a foul mass of worms. They were furious, angry, and cut the mill into pieces and used it for firewood. Now, on listening about the magic created by the mortar and the magic mill, the jealous neighbors borrowed it from the old couple. But their pastry turned out to be a full mass of worms, and they were that much angry that they broke the mill into pieces. The generous old man dreamt again. The spirit of the dog informed him about how the mill had been burnt. He then asked him to take the ashes of it on the trees withering to make them bloom again. Now one day again the spirit of the dog came in his dream, in the old man's dream, and he told him how the wicked couple had burnt the mill. And then he asked him to take the ashes of that mortar and magic mill and sprinkle it over the withered or dried trees. The old man went to his neighbor's house and found them sitting before the fireplace burning legs of the mill. He was resentfully allowed to take away bucketful of ashes. He went up to his withered dressy tree and sprinkled ashes. Now again the old couple went to the wicked couple's house and he asked for the ashes of the mill on the mortar. But the wicked couple hesitatingly, means they were not totally agreeing for giving it, but at last they allowed him to fill the bucket from the ashes. Then the old man went to his dry tree and sprinkled the ashes over it. The fragrance of freshly enlivened blossoms reached the village. Now, on sprinkling the ashes over the withered tree, the tree was full of flowers. The old man climbed up an old withered cherry tree when he learned that Daimyo was arriving. The villagers set out to bow down before the king until the procession passed by. When Daimyo came near, the old man took ashes and scattered it over the tree. It bursted into blossoms, and Daimyo was happy or delighted. He thanked and offered him presents like cake, fans, and many rewards. Now, what happened when the old man came to know that their lord Daimyo was coming? He climbed up the withered tree and sat over there. When Daimyo came near, he sprinkled the ashes over the tree, and the tree was full of flowers. Looking this, Daimyo was so happy that he rewarded him with presents like cakes, fans, and many rewards. Greedy neighbor does the same, thinking that magic ashes would work the same way for him. The ashes blew into nose and eyes of Daimyo and his wife, making them sneeze and choke. Now, when the greedy neighbor heard about the old man and how he was rewarded by Daimyo, he did the same. But this time, instead of blooming the tree, the ashes went into the eyes and nose of Daimyo and his wife, making them sneeze and choke. Old Wicked Man was dragged and thrown by the road. Wicked Man died in the mud, but the kind friend of dog lived happily. Who was the kind friend of dog? The old kind couple. Now we shall revise a poem for Chivi. The poem Chivi has been composed by the poet Michael Rosen. The present poem deals with the feelings of the poet like other small kids who feel irritated by their elders who always instruct them to do or not to do. The grown-ups, or we can say elders and parents, always say things like speak up, don't stare, don't point, don't pick your nose, sit up, say please, less noise, etc. The poem Chivi centers its idea in the nature or instructional relations between children and the parents. So basically, this poem Chivi talks about the behavior of our elders or of our parents, how they always keep on instructing us every time, and it also shows the instructional relationship between the children and the parents. It presents the puzzle of parents instructing children on what to do and how to do it while they are young, without giving a chance for decision making. To this children, the same parents are seen to complain about the dependence of their now grown up children. So, this poem also presents the puzzling nature of parents, how they always keep on instructing the child what to do and how to do in their young age without giving them chance to take decisions, their own decisions. And when they grow up, the same parents accept their child to take their own decisions. So it shows, this poem shows this puzzling behavior of our parents or of our elders. Now we shall revise our lesson number 7, verbs. So what is verb? Verb is the main part of the sentence. Okay, it is the main part of the sentence. Verbs can be of two types: action verbs and state of being verb. So what are action verbs and what are state of being verbs? So what are verbs? Verbs are main part of the sentence. Verbs can be divided in two parts: action verbs and state of being verbs. So what are action verbs? Let's have a look with the help of example. If you see in this picture, we can say the boy is reading. So what is he doing? He is reading. So his action is reading. So read is action verb. Okay. The next type of verbs is state of being verb. Have a look on the example. If I say the boy feels sad. Now in this sentence, feels is state of being verb, means it is showing how the boy is feeling. What is his state? A verb may tell us what a person or thing does. For example, the clock strikes, Abhi laughs. It also tells us what a person or a thing has. For example, Abhi has a blue car. The windows have a wooden frame. Third, it also tells us what a person or thing is. For example, the cat is dead. So, this is the three different ways how a verb can be used. So, there are various types of verbs grouped by function. Transitive or intransitive verbs, finite or infinite verbs, auxiliaries and modals, gerunds, infinitives or participles. So basically, in your book, that is PC Run's grammar book, lesson number 7 verbs, there are only transitive and intransitive verbs. But if you still want to know more about finite, non-finite verbs, auxiliaries and modals, gerunds, infinitives and participles, then you can watch my previous videos of verbs. So in this revision video, we shall talk about transitive and intransitive verbs. So basically, what is transitive verb? Action that have a direct object. Action that have direct object to receive that action. So basically the verbs that have a direct object are known as transitive verbs. Or we can say a transitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which passes over from the doer or subject to an object. So basically when in a sentence the action passes from the subject to the object, that verb or that action verb is known as transitive verb. So to identify transitive verb, we have to ask a question to ourselves, what? And if we get the answer of what, that means our verb has a direct object. That's why that verb will be transitive verb. Now let's have a look on example of transitive verb. The boy kicks the football. Now the boy is kicking the football. That means the action is passing from the boy to the football. So the verb kicks is transitive verb. Or I can also question myself, what did the boy kick? The boy kicks the football. So the answer is the football. That's why I am getting the object in the sentence. So my verb, that is kicks, action verb, is transitive verb. I hope it is clear to you. Now let's have a look on what is intransitive verb. Action that does not have a direct object, that doesn't have a direct object to receive that action, is known as intransitive verb. So basically the verbs that do not have a direct object to receive any action, those verbs are known as intransitive verbs. Or we can say an intransitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which does not pass from doer to an object. So when an action does not pass over from doer to an object, then that action verb is known as intransitive verb. Let's have let's have a look on example. Snow fell yesterday. Now there is no passing of the action. Now the action is not passing to the object. There is no object. Or if I ask myself a question, where what fell? Snow, but snow is the subject. So there is no object in this sentence. That's why my verb fell is intransitive verb. Okay? So that's all for your today's video. Now your homework is you have to revise poem 4 Chivi, lesson 4 the ashes that made trees bloom, and lesson 7 verbs for test. Along with that you have to do assignment given on EdQuark site in your fair notebook. Thanks. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video then please subscribe the channel and like the video.